This is John Costa, the editor of Citizens Eye, the community news agency for Leicester and Leicestershire. We're here at the Phoenix Square Film and Digital Media Centre, and you can see there the media centre for the 8th Bike Film Festival and tomorrow's Sky Ride. Now, what's happened today is we've been joined by one of our community reporters, Mathew Hulbert. How are you, Mathew?
Hi there, John. How are you doing?
Cool. Now, a lot of people will already know you from your regular LE10 news bulletins that you do on our YouTube channel.
Indeed, but I'm wearing one of my other hats today.
Your other hat? You brought your other hat with you?
I have, not literally, as you can tell.
Now, you're standing to be a councillor, is that right? Is that next May?
That's next May, in the local elections next May.
Okay, and you're going to be standing for the Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council.
That's right.
And also the Barwell Parish Council.
That's right.
Okay, now, who are you standing for? What party will you be representing?
I'm standing for the Liberal Democrats. Very proud to be standing for the Lib Dems. There's a great local team in Hinckley and Bosworth. And as you say, I'll be standing for Barwell Parish Council. That's the most local form of authority that there is. And that deals very much with things like cemeteries and local parks, really grassroots issues. And then Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council is a step up from that. Which they have much more spending abilities than the parish council.
From your point of view, do you see an advantage of being able to sit on both councils at local level and maybe slightly bigger level? Do you think that one benefits the other?
I hope so. I mean, you know, the parish council, they both do a really good job. At the moment, there's no Lib Dems on Barwell Parish Council. There was a while ago, so if I was elected onto it, I'd be one of the first, which would be great. But currently, the Lib Dems run Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council and have been doing some great work there. But I guess, in a sense, one of the things that I'd like to try and convey is that, you know, serving in public life is, you know, it's not just about trying to become a member of Parliament. Serving on your local council, representing the people that you live with, the community that you live in, is a great honour, and so that's why I'm seeking to do that.
Well, the thing is, you know, across the country, there's many people that serve, you know, and have served for many years on parish councils and borough councils and district council with absolutely no ambitions at all of being a member of Parliament. Right. And like you said, a lot of them do it unpaid, and it's all voluntary. What do you think you can bring to both of those councils as someone who represents the area?
Well, I think I'd be one of the younger councillors if I was elected onto either of those authorities, and so hopefully I'd bring youth and enthusiasm and energy, and I really care about my village of Barwell. It's, as many people will know, Barwell has hit the headlines on a number of occasions in recent years, often unfairly, often with sensationalist reporting from London-based media, and I want to say Barwell is a very good place to live. We've got lots of good stuff going on, including a new community centre that I'm involved with, the George Ward Centre. We've just had Barwell Carnival, which is one of the best in the county. There's good stuff going on there.
Now, what sort of daily or weekly routine would it impact on your life? I mean, I know you're already a busy man. You do Hilltop Radio in Earl Shilton as a volunteer. You're training some young people for that. You community report for us, if you like, Citizens Eye. You write quite regularly for the Leicester Mercury and also for the Hinckley Times, is that right?
That's right.
See, even I can't keep up with you, and I'm a busy man, you know.
Not as busy as you, John.
Well, there we go. We'll argue the debate about that one another time, maybe. But you also chair, as you said, the George Barwell Centre. What sort of impact does it have on your sort of, you know, daily or weekly life? Because I mean, most people probably wouldn't even be aware of what it does to someone when they serve on a parish council or borough council.
I think they obviously meet. The Barwell Parish Council meets once a month. Obviously, the Borough Council, I think, meets more regularly than that. And then you have ward surgeries, and of course, if you're a councillor, you're available, I suppose, 24 hours a day, and you just have to get used to that. If people have an issue with their housing or with crime or whatever, they'll often call their councillor before they'll call the police or anybody else. And so, I mean, I guess it will have an impact, but at the moment I don't have a family. I'm a single guy, and so therefore I have the time to be able to dedicate to that.
Okay. Now, from your point of view, what sort of impact do you think something like social media is going to have on the local elections next year? Because really, there'll be the first local elections where the use of social media will have the big impact, a bit like the national elections this year?
I think so. I mean, I hope they'll have more impact, because the national election was dominated by the leadership debates, although in the end I have to question whether or not they changed very much at all. I mean, our leader Nick Clegg did very well, and yet we ended up with less seats than when we started, so you can question that. But I think social media in the local elections will really come into its own. I mean, as you know, John, I use Twitter, we put our Elite End News on YouTube, I use Facebook, and they're just great ways, aren't they, of connecting with people and of people being able to reach you. I mean, very often these days people won't pick up the phone, they won't actually write longhand to you. They'll go on Facebook, or they'll email, or they'll Twitter you, so I'm happy for people to do that.
Well, you know, when I meet MPs and city councillors and, you know, county councillors...
You met Paddy Ashdown, one of my great heroes.
Absolutely, that was what a fantastic visit that was, and that's a pretty good YouTube interview as well. I was quite proud of that one in May last year now, a long time ago. Anyway, this is about you, Matthew, stop talking about me. Social media. When you meet people, it's very easy, if you like, to pull the wool over their eyes about what you are like as a person and how you would represent them, and kind of have like a public face as a councillor. Do you think something like social media, and certainly blogging the way that you blog, I mean, certainly on Twitter you're quite open about your faith as well. I mean, it kind of tells, some people would see it as a sign of weakness, and other people see, well, actually, I probably know Mathew Hulbert, the person, and therefore if Mathew Hulbert said he's going to do this for me, I'm more likely to believe him because I know what he stands for and represents. Do you think social media lets people closer to elected officials and therefore is a good thing?
I hope so. I mean, I think in the past there has been too many times where politicians have, as you say, had a public face and a private face. That's different between having a private life, that's a different thing. Of course politicians should have a private life, but you should be the same person on and off screen, on and off microphone. And I mean, you know, I've known you, John, since about the turn of the year, and I hope you agree that I'm pretty much the same on screen as off screen. I think at home might be the odd occasion where I perhaps curse or whatever, which I wouldn't do necessarily in public.
Does that make you human?
I think that makes me human, you know, to err is human, and, you know, I get annoyed about things and angry about things. So I think you need to behave properly when you're in public. You should always be yourself. And people will either vote for me as me, or they won't, I think.
Okay, the issues in Barwell, you kind of touched on them earlier, and obviously, you know, I mean, we've had quite a debate, haven't we, about, you know, what we don't really want to happen is that when people hear the word Barwell, they think sort of Hungerford or Dunblane or kind of tragedy and stuff, and, you know, and again, the media plays a part in that, doesn't it? But from your point of view, what do you think the top three issues are in Barwell, and how would you tackle them, from not necessarily from a parish or a borough council, but just, you know, as Mathew Hulbert, if you like, you know?
Well, I think regeneration. I think Barwell for a long time has not had its fair share of the money that other parts of the borough and the county have had. It's just been left. It's got very poor infrastructure. There's very few employment opportunities. There are a few more opportunities for young people now with the opening of our centre. So regeneration would be one. Trying to get more employment opportunities. I mean, it's very difficult as a councillor to do that. That's up to businesses to do that, isn't it? But you have a voice, don't you, as a councillor, to be able to try and say Barwell is a place for businesses to come and to do very well in. And I'm also very keen on keeping Barwell green, on ensuring that its green spaces remain there, its parks don't get concreted over, that they remain, because we need to be green as well. So I think those are the three things that I'd work towards. I think as one councillor it'd be very difficult to do much about that by yourself, but as part of a team you can make a difference with those things.
Well, you mentioned the word team, and may I expand that word into the word coalition? Let's talk national politics and how you think that would work for you locally in being able to work with people. I mean, you've got Simon, who's standing as a Tory councillor, I think, in Thurncourt, which is obviously here in Leicester, and I know Councillor Rory Palmer, the Labour. He stood as the Labour candidate as well, didn't he, in the general election? To join you in a new programme that you're thinking of doing called Crossfire, which will be very interesting. Yeah. From your point of view, do you think it's a real challenge to be able to work on people, or do you think there's actually quite a lot of common ground?
I think there is. I think there's more common ground amongst most political parties than you'd actually realise. A lot of what goes on in the House of Commons is very theatrical and serves very little purpose, certainly Prime Minister's questions. I mean, I enjoy it as much as anybody else, but you can't take it seriously, can you?
It is rather cut and thrust, isn't it?
Well, that's right. I mean, you know, it's great fun, but actually most of the good Commons work happens in the committee corridor and not when Prime Minister's questions is on. In terms of the coalition, some people are very positive about it on the doorstep. Other people, and I'll be quite honest with